Good morning, students. This movie will show you how to operate the Excel file Demo 2000 in the version X. First, please open LIA and choose the folder Assessing Social Protection Needs and Properties. Look for Presentation and Lectures and download Demography 2000 version Z. It's very important. Store it onto your computer and now we are fine to start the simulation. Open the Demography 2000 Z file and activate or enable macros. It might be that a second option appears asking for enabling the write modus. Confirm it with yes. A sheet labeled Y2000 appears, containing the age classes separated for male and female. Also the death rates for each age class is given for the males and the females. The bluish colored columns are necessary to display the age classes in this chart of the population baseline. The age column contains the development index for the death rates, also separated for each age class. A value of 0.92 means that the death rates will be decreased every year by 8% just by using this development index as a factor for multiplication. Please remember that you have to set only the first value in row 2 and the last one in row 102. The values between the first and the last row are calculated automatically by the program. As next, we have to define the fertility rate. In column I, row 2, here in this case it's set to a value of 6. 6 means that each woman in the age between 15 and 50 years will have 6 children. A development rate of 0.96 means that the fertility rate will drop by 4% each year. Now we are ready for simulating the desired number of years. It's very useful to use a built-in macro of the Excel file to generate the needed sheets and to calculate the population for each age class and their corresponding death rates. There are two possibilities to start the macro. The first option is pressing simultaneously the alternate button and the function key number 11. The alternative is to choose a macro by the menu. It's a function group Ansicht or View. Then continue to Macros and Show Macros or Macros anzeigen. select Do It and say Bearbeiten or Work or Edit, and the Do It macro will appear. All what you have to do now is to set the number of the years to be simulated in this macro line, for instance to 30. And now we are ready to start our simulation. Be sure the cursor is inside the macro Do It, and then press the green triangle in this icon bar, and soon the macro will begin to calculate the simulated years. You see a lot of sheets generated by the macro, calculating the age classes, including the death rates and the adapted fertility rates, and transport the calculated numbers and results into the sheet Y2000, where we will obtain all results after the simulation has been finished. It will be the case soon. So now we are ready, and now we will have a look on the charts. That means, beginning with our population baseline, we have 30 simulated years, and in this chart there are two characteristic curves shown. It's the youth and the old age dependency ratio. The old age dependency ratio is marked by a purple colored line, and it's invisible because the values are set to 0. There are not enough people in the age classes which are retired, so the curve is invisible. But the youth age dependency ratio is a very interesting one. The characteristic curve is climbing up to more than 180 children per 100 workers in the year 2005, and then continuously dropping up to 2030. Considering the sum of both ratios, we can clearly see that the only burden for the government consists of the expenditures given for the education and, for instance, health facilities. You can copy the results of the simulation via the clipboard into a Word document. Just marking the chart, typing Ctrl and C, changing to the document, typing Ctrl and V, and storing this simulation, including the parameters set at the beginning of the simulation. That means the development index for the death rates, and the development index for the fertility rate. It's a good idea to store the calculated simulation using a certain signature. For instance, indices for the death rates and the fertility rates using digits. Confirming the warning with continue, weiter or yes. And then we are ready to calculate a new simulation. To start a new simulation, unload the current one and open the initial file DemographySimulation2019 again. You can choose now other parameters, for instance another fertility rate in the initial phase of the simulation, let's say 8 children per woman. Looking for the macro do it, choosing edit or bearbeiten, looking for the line where the years are set. Let's assume 30 is the desired number, and then activate the green triangle again, and we will see what happens. As expected, the calculation begins to run, and soon we will see the result in the sheet Y2000. Which is the baseline for this simulation. So it's ready. Now let's have a look. So with a new parameter set, the youth age dependency ratio climbs up to a value of more than 200. And after the year 2007, we see also a dropping characteristic curve with an interesting effect like a buckling in the year 2020. That means 20 years after the baseline has been started. To compare this chart with the former one, we copy it into the clipboard using Ctrl and C. And now we see similar characteristic curves. The last case shows a population growing, while the former case shows a diminished population over the time span of the simulation. Dear students, thanks for listening, and I hope you are now well prepared performing your take-home exam. I wish you the best results. Thanks again for listening, and I say goodbye.